And as we transition over to Play On and GoFan and talking about digital ticketing as well, one of the features that they're going to talk about is a product called BidSwap as well. So just some things we're thinking about from a CIAC perspective in the next, kind of 3-year plan, if you will, is how can we work to continue to highlight schools? So one of the next iterations that we're looking for is on our schedules, particularly with our tournaments right now. We're looking first where when you look at the brackets of games, to have a link that will take you directly to the NFHS network feed of that game, as well as a link that will take you directly to the GoFan ticket sales for that game, making it very easy to go and look that up. We're also looking at the schools that are using VidSwap and that we can get some statistics and numbers from. Can we create a Connecticut leaderboard of stat leaders? So if I'm a college coach, and it's one thing that over the summer I had an opportunity. I met up with probably about 15, 20 college coaches over the summer that I had an opportunity to touch base with. And one of the questions I asked them is, how often do you go to huddle and look at, seek out a kid's game skill? And the answer from every coach was, I never do. And so one of the places that, they do look for is, where can I watch the kid play? So they, with recruiting and they get a lot of interest. Can I watch a kid, whether it's on demand or on a stream thing, can I watch a kid play? Or they're looking for that 3 to 5 minute video from a kid to see as a highlight. So one of the ways that we thought we might be able to help this, and one of our new hires this year, Corey Plasky, this is going to be a task for Corey back there in the next 3 years, is how can we create this Connecticut leaderboard? So maybe you have your softball pitcher with the best stats on the year, where if I'm a coach and I want to look and see who are the Connecticut leaders, if I click on this kid, it'll take me to their team page. I could see their schedules, I could see their results, but I could also go and see all the NFHS network links that are going to take me to be able to watch those kids' games. So as a coach, I can have the information that I need for recruiting right at my fingertips in 1 or 2 clicks. So we're going to work on a lot of tools and things for student athletes to help them navigate their way through that college recruiting process. That again, will be unique to what we're doing with Play On, with the network and with CIAC, that you just won't be able to get with competitors with that. So with that, I'd like to introduce to you from Play On, Keely Hartman.
Thanks, Glenn. Good to see you all, and thanks to Mark for kind of giving some of the backstory around Play On and the network. And now we'll dive into a little bit more of the nitty-gritty details of how the network, GoFan, all work together. It's also very fitting that Clark and Arbiter were able to present as well, because that's a very strong partnership that, again, hopefully is already making your lives easier, but we can show you some other ways to make it more efficient as well, because I know all of you have a lot on your plates, and our goal is to hopefully make this a benefit for you all, not another headache. So under the Play On umbrella, just to give you an idea, we have the network, which started 12 years ago, and then GoFan, which originally was Huddle Tickets, a paper tickets business, and then kind of through 2018, 19, and then into COVID, digital ticketing became certainly the norm, and they came under the Play On umbrella in 2021. And then we also have websites as well that can showcase your schools a little bit better, from an educational website perspective versus an athletic website perspective. So those are our products. They all work together, which is great. We have many schools that use all three. We also have schools, obviously, that use maybe just 1 or 2. But we think that the more you use, the easier it is in terms of only having to input information in one place. This is just an overview of how Connecticut performed last year. So over 400,000 tickets were sold. That's both regular season and postseason. Over 10,000 events were live streamed. Over 12 million minutes were watched by fans in the state, out of the state, maybe even in outer space apparently now. And 138 schools in the CIAC are working with PlayOn in some form or fashion. So what that means is those schools, many of you are familiar, work in our HQ platform. So that's another benefit that Sarah will go into a lot as well, which is the central management system, if you will, for your events. So previously, if you are a streaming school and a ticketing school, you would have to go into console for your streaming events and then into GoFan HQ for your ticketing events and kind of, do some double work, if you will. Now those are all together. So it's PlayOn HQ, the one-stop shop for your school's events, whether you're streaming them, ticketing them, and there's, again, we'll show you, but like very easy toggle on, toggle off buttons if you want to make edits or whatever you need to do, and that's all in PlayOn HQ. A little bit about the mission of PlayOn. Again, this company was founded in 2008, just around streaming initially, working with some schools, a few states, and then we grew into what we are now with the network, GoFan, and other products as well. But really trying to be the single platform that you, an athletic or an administrator, needs to go to. We try to save you all time, hopefully money as well, to focus on what's important for you all every day. And a little bit about our commitment and certainly around our service and support. I know Mark mentioned a bit of that, but from 2012 to 2018, our support team was, a dozen people maybe, right? So we were only broadcasting a few thousand events a year. We had a smaller support team, and now we're broadcasting over 600,000 events a year. So luckily, which I'm very proud to say and proud to say that PlayOn has invested in the support team. We now have over 200 people in our support team alone, which obviously was out of necessity in 2020, 2021, but then we've stuck with it in terms of realizing, hey, we need to provide great service. That's one of our differentiators. We know that there's competitors out there. We know that there's other things that you all have to spend your time on. We want to be a support environment that you don't dread having to talk to. And so that's invested and been investments in our people, as well as in these softwares, Canopy, tools that we can use to actually monitor our fleet of cameras around the country. And also I wanted to mention, again, the streaming support phone number. So this is specifically for schools, I will say leagues as well, that have day of issues, in the moment issues, and you want to talk to someone on the phone. We also still have our texting support and our email support as well. Nolan is a great resource for you as well here in Connecticut. But this is a great investment that we've made. Many people internally have been asking for it for a while, just because we know how important it is, when your game's about to start or something like that. Obviously, we encourage you to try to, check in on your cameras a little bit ahead of time, but things happen. So streaming support phone number, very important, and we can give that to you as well as Nolan's information as well. But just wanted to highlight that again in terms of our support initiatives. I'd like to introduce Sarah Atherton, who's our regional sales manager. Many of you may know her, but she'll just go through, more in depth about the range of what we cover from pre-event through the event and post-event as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi all, I know most of you in this room, but it was a pleasure to meet the ones I haven't met yet. And obviously our goal is to try to get 100% of CIAC schools on board. As Keely mentioned, of the 187 of the schools, 138 are using PlayOn in some capacity. One thing, just sort of a backstory about where I kind of came from in this role is that I started with GoFan ticketing in 2021. At that time, we had about 80 employees. And like Mark had mentioned, we're at over 400. Majority of the people that we have on our team have been built for support and product development. Really for you all, I really do pride ourselves on, we listen to what ADs are asking for, superintendents and activities directors. That's one thing I've always noticed, is that when someone mentions concessions, the next thing you know, we've got a concessions build out, or we've seen ADs put yearbook sales through other departments on their landing page. So truly, we get most of our ideas from you all, and so it's a great company to work for when they listen to their client base. So. That being said, we have evolved massively since then, with just the consolidation of time as a whole. And of course, the one thing that NFHS and GoFan always had in common was revenue growth. They truly care about the schools and sort of how things go up, and they pay attention to what you all are paying for officials and equipment and everything. So they really want to be a part of helping you all with that process. And obviously they both don't charge you any maintenance or annual fees. GoFan is entirely free to the schools, and supported by your fans. So I just wanted to talk about the pre-event and post-event setup of GoFan. So we have now expanded to concessions, to prom camps, field trips. Fundraising is a very new build out. We don't take any portion of your ticket sales or donations, so you do keep 100% of that. We also have all the compliance, as you could imagine. Of course, we have 41 state partnerships. That's a huge part of it, is we want to make sure that for your treasury departments and financial departments that we have everything in place through Stripe, our credit card processor, for your protection. We also handle all the contracting through them as well, and liability. Of course, we do have a partnership with Arbiter. We're very thankful for that. It's another way for us to consolidate time for you all, where you're not having to put in schedules multiple times. That's part of the pre-event setup. And so when you do a one-time integration with Arbiter, it will continue to update that. So it'll kind of scream at you and say, you've got new events in Arbiter, we need to get the approval here. And literally with a click of a button, you can approve it on streaming and ticketing at the same time. Our idea is that we'd like for it to be untouched from there on out, and just send you payments weekly for any dollars that may have come in through the week, so that you can get back to what you're there to do, and not have to juggle all these platforms and sort of maintain them. Play on HQ, like Keely had mentioned, we just wanted to take what we felt was the most comprehensive platform and hub for you all to do the event management. And like she said, I'm not a very tech savvy person, to be honest with you, but I will say I appreciate, and most people's feedback is that they appreciate that everything is a click of a button or a checkbox or a toggle, and it does kind of prompt you when there's missing actions, just so that you're not having to manage a very complicated or complex system. We have, on the event statistics side for HQ, given you full transparency on revenue on both streaming and ticketing, meaning that you can log in at any point and you can see real time. We are cloud based on where you're at on ticket sales and your subscribers. And although we do handle the reporting for you, which I will show you in a moment, but just to give you insight at any time of where you're at there. And you can do it by department or event itself. We've also sort of included our marketing tools. So with this, it's very exciting because we do see students getting more involved. You have the full control over permissions in the platform, and we've been seeing schools that have been given student groups soft permissions so they can build fundraisers or they can manage an event. Obviously, with the younger generations, this is all second nature, so they really enjoy kind of being a part of it. But as we always have done for GoFan, you will all automatically have access to links, flyers, and codes to help promote any event. We've also implemented that with streaming, so that you can also help to build your subscription base. In addition, we have launched Play on HQ Mobile. The idea, of course, is that anything that you can do from your office or desktop, you can do on the go through that app. That includes sending out complimentary tickets. I definitely want to mention that, when we first came about, 2015 is when we sort of did a trial for digital ticketing at that time. It was before COVID. So, it was just like, let's see what happens type of thing. And then COVID hit. And of course, it was a complete different dynamic for high school ticketing. But now it's become more of, unfortunately, a security issue. So with digital ticketing, you can always know real time before, during, and after an event who was in the building. We have mobile passes that you can block for certain situations, but unfortunately today it's always good to know who's there for any reason. And so that's been sort of a huge shift this year on people, wanting to go the digital route for ticketing. But the mobile version also allows you to look directly through the camera lens, test them, request calibrations, contact support. Huge change this year, you'll notice on the support end. As Keely mentioned, Nolan Bird is the success manager for Connecticut, but we've also launched a call line. We still will continue to have the tickets option. So we just wanted to really sort of button up the support side of things so that you always have a go-to person to call on. I am very hands-on with all the schools, even after setup. So I always give them my cell phone, or you guys my cell phone number, to make sure that you have someone to call if there's ever an emergency or you can't reach someone. So in addition to the pre-purchase idea of GoFan, every school in the state actually has a GoFan landing page. This is, of course, due to the CIAC partnership, so that when you do fall into a state contest, this is where fans go to find your event tickets. But what I will say that most people just don't really notice is that we don't require app downloads or account creations. We are actually unique that way. On the fan side, we just want to make it as easy as possible for them to purchase any tickets or to donate to fundraisers. And then with that, we also house home and away. So at any point, you can go onto anyone's landing page, whether they're active on GoFan or not, and you can find events there on the away side as well. So when you do approve your arbiter schedules, it not only loads on your page, the opposing team's page, we also have box office options. So it will also become available for credit card purchasing. So with that one approval, you have tons of ways that it's actually marketed and an ability to purchase those tickets. We are currently offering all CIAC schools this complimentary, what we consider an upgraded version of our platform. It's a pocket-sized reader and an iPad. We actually pay for Wi-Fi built into our iPads for every school. Simply because we understand that Wi-Fi can be an issue when it comes to gyms and fields. So we want to make sure that you're good to go there and that you're not having to connect to school Wi-Fi, or you can travel with that as well. The Finance Hub. So generally when I have had meetings with any of you or Will, we do have usually a follow-up meeting with the finance contact. They're usually the most apprehensive, if I'm being honest, initially, because of course the way of the schools has always been the same and they're kind of comfortable with the way things are, which is fair. But they're also generally the happiest after year one. When we go to conferences, they're usually the ones that are most thankful. We really have focused on their needs. So again, all the compliance, as you can imagine, as far as the ask for finance, and then the Finance Hub has been completely revamped. Our audit compliance comes in because you can go back from day one of activation and you can pull any report by season, cycle, day, year, category, which of course, audits happen all the time. So it's really helpful. And you can go real time, as I mentioned before, and see where you're at on any sales by the department or category. But we actually handle the reporting end for finance as well. So weekly, we send your finance contacts a full summary that is entirely broken down of all the dollars that have come in for the week. And then for you all, we actually send next day reports. So if there is a Friday night basketball game, you would wake up Saturday morning to an email that just says this is the dollars that came in from last night's game. Again, the biggest part is we want you all to be hands off with this and sort of do the approvals, have a one-stop event management platform, and then just kind of leave it untouched from there. That's best case scenario. So we have also recently launched Play on Sites. This is the idea for Play on Sites is really just to pull all of that information and data from HQ without you having to manage an athletic site. So if you are using GoFan and NFHS, we actually are offering this to schools currently, no cost at all, but it will pull all of your scheduling, your streaming, and your ticketing information into one portal. And I mean, we had officially launched this, or we did a beta on this about a year ago, but we even tried for one school specifically to leave it untouched for that amount of time, and it looked like it had been managed, I mean, on a game by game basis. So it's really ideal for, again, time consolidation and management for you all. As Mark and Keely mentioned, we do have a partnership with VidSwap. We definitely want to highlight this, especially this year. Obviously everything is going up, and so a lot of people are not aware of the VidSwap partnership with NFHS. We do have a VidSwap rep in Nathan Taylor, so I'm happy to give you his information as well, just to kind of do an apples to apples comparison. But honestly, if you are using any coaching and analytic tools, but a couple of things that I do know without you all meeting with Nathan is that it's about a third of the cost of other analytic platforms. It also has the fastest returns of any other rated platforms, and just really simplified. A big misconception is that you can share this footage and this information with schools that do not utilize VidSwap. So it is shareable. I just wanted to kind of highlight that too. So that's all I have. I would love to meet with you if I haven't yet. Really appreciate all of you all for being on board. We really encourage you to talk to the schools that do utilize GoFan or NFHS, hopefully both, just so that you can get feedback. That really is our best, is the word of mouth. So we really do encourage you to talk amongst each other, and then I'm happy to meet with you on a one-on-one. We do tailor this platform on a school-by-school basis, so we want to work for small schools, large schools, rural schools, any schools of any dynamic. So we don't require ticket minimals on GoFan. Again, there's no cost to you whatsoever. Of course, there's never any penalties, so it can work for any school size or district. So thank you all for
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the upgrade for Connecticut schools? You mentioned it
Yeah.
briefly.
It's the box office kit, so it's really just point of sale. So we've always been known for pre-purchase setup, but we do now have it to where someone can walk up, tap, swipe, insert their card, and walk right into the game, and we will consolidate all that revenue for you.
So what were you saying about an iPad?
It's iPad, a card reader, and actually a 6-pack of poster board signs that will come with your school QR code built
So we
into
email
it.
you and you'll get us that?
Yeah, I'm happy to get it for you.
And it's great, like if people don't have a smartphone, but they do have a credit card, so they could buy it
Yeah.
on site.
So what about, you could do that for our league as well?
Yes.
Yeah. We'll get it out to you. And if you don't have any as an active school, just let me know, and I'm happy to have Nolan send one out to you.
So you list also like fundraisers, concessions, and everything along those lines.
Yes.
So for a specific game, say if our fundraiser, our concessions are done by the boosters, will the funds be seen as separate going into the booster account compared to athletic account?
Yes. So with you having a success manager in Nolan, when he meets with the contacts or the ADs, he will tailor this exactly how you need. We call those sub-accounts generally when it's PTA or booster clubs, to where they can be entirely out of your way. They get their own reports and deposits and payouts. We can also do paper check if it's still an option for you all. But yes, we can separate that out. And since I do want to kind of piggyback on fundraisers. We have just about 2 months ago officially launched it, that when someone goes in to buy any tickets for your events, they can actually simultaneously donate directly to any active fundraisers that you have, which has been huge. We knew it'd be a revenue driver for schools, but it was actually greater than we expected, with some schools getting more on donations than ticket sales. So, any other questions?
Steve, do you mind talking about your VidSwap experience and network in general, or GoFan?
So,
I know. He's our, if anybody else wants to speak.
so the one thing that I'll start with is that Arbiter speaks to them all. So I don't really, once I put the game in Arbiter, or the league puts the game in Arbiter, if it's an event that we sell tickets for, it automatically goes to that page. If it's an event where we have a pixel lock camera, it automatically goes and sets that up. So I don't have to do any of that. So that's the good thing. The vid swap, our coaches love for the fact that, again, they talk to each other. NFHS, like people who don't use vid swap, you have to upload your video. This goes from NFHS right to vid swap. And then the coaches, the kids, parents all have access to that video right away. And the real cool thing is, so like say I'm a basketball player, I want to say, how many three-point shots did I take today or the season? Bang, and it'll show every single time I took a three, or every single time I took a foul shot. And to Glenn's point about the leaderboard, that would help put everything up onto that leaderboard right through VidSwap. It's a really cool tool for the coaches. Like I've walked into my field hockey coaches in the video room. I say, all right, well, let's work on corners. And she presses that button, and all of our corners come in. Let's work on corner defense. Presses the button, all the opponents' corners come up. It's a really cool tool through play on it's been great. And also, I just want to say, like, talking about financials, I bought a set of uniforms this year based off the money that I made back from NFHS last year. As you saw how many games we had on there. And we also have Chick-fil-A who donates money to our school, and their logo's on our station. So.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Any other questions or comments? Yes.
I'm just curious, have you worked with college coaches to see how much they are using that technology to recruit?
Yeah, so Glenn, you mentioned, so a lot of coaches we've heard actually prefer watching the full games and not just the highlights are great maybe to get a quick glance, but they want to see how are you acting on the bench? How are you acting when things aren't going your way? So they can watch thousands of events, just from their office, instead of having to travel around the country. So we have heard great feedback around being able to watch longer periods of time than just the highlight videos as well. Yeah.
To piggyback, just a kind of a question, Steve, right? So you said if you wanted to go in there and look up all the threes you took through the course of the season, they pop up. If I'm an opposing coach, am I able to go, let's say you're a 20-point per game scorer.
No, you don't have my vid swap. You can go in NFHS and watch the whole game.
Right, but I would not have access
I'm wrong, because we have the breakdown of the other. So I get video of Oxford's basketball team. Mm-hmm. I take that and put it into my vid swap, and that'll break it down, and I can hit, what do they do against zone? What do they do against man?
So it essentially kind of it's scouting for
It's a scouting tool, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Thanks, guys. And just another point on just the question of the college coaching one. So for 8 years, I was an assistant baseball coach at Yale University. Recruiting was a big part of my job. I never once watched a highlight tape that was sent to me from a kid. Nobody sends us a highlight tape of them making an error. We know every highlight tape that they send you is the kid making great plays. So when we're interested in a kid, we've seen them play, we've talked to coaches or colleagues that have seen them, that puts them on our radar, or we've seen them at showcases, something that's garnered our interest. But as Keely said, I'm going to watch the whole game. And there were probably a handful of times that we went out to watch games. Kid went from being one of our top 3 recruits to we're not taking him because of what we saw happening when the kid was not in the game. And, so again, it's that we create these videos and we create these things. It's a nice tool for kids and parents to have, but it is a myth and an illusion that this is what your kids need to get recruited. Every highlight film is just that. It's a highlight of what the kid is doing at their absolute best. The only film breakdowns and things we've looked for, if there was somebody we couldn't get out to see, I would call and ask them to send me a clip of them running a 60-yard dash. So I could on video also look at the timing, look at the kid's speed and something like that. Or I would say if the kid was an outfielder, take a dozen balls to left, throw into second, throw into third. So I didn't want to see the highlight clip. I wanted to see repetition of what that kid was doing so I could evaluate how did that player respond, or what was that player's ability rep after rep after rep, not only just the best one that they sent me. So, and that still rings true, as I said, with most of the college coaches I've talked to today. It's still the same. You could send us highlight films, but we know it's just showing you at your best. So, we take all of that into consideration. All right. Keely, thank you, sir. Thank you. I think it died. So, again, hopefully, what we really wanted to take away is share with you some of the partners that we have within CIAC and that you're working with your member schools. We know that education and education-based athletics has become a tech industry. If you don't think it is, you're a little bit behind. It is a tech industry now. So how do we work with those tech industries to make the operations that we have within our school districts, within our programs, easier, more efficient, things that we can use the technology for to our benefit. So, the things that you saw with the network, again, this is a way you can gain revenue, you can bring things in. We have an incredibly talented team of media experts who are here today. John Holt back there, Christy filming with us today, Jada and Corey. They've done a lot of spotlight videos and things that you have. If you have games on the network where we could create commercials for you, you could sell advertising, you could put those, that's all ways that districts can gain additional revenue without putting any money out. And that's the benefit of using some of the partners that we have and the tech that's available to you today. And that was the purpose of us sharing with you these resources, if you're not using them yet, or if you are, how we can even take more advantage of what you have. So thank you for coming out and joining us today. We hope that you have a great rest of the day and weekend. Enjoy the beautiful weather that we have, and good luck in the tournaments for all of our schools. Thank you.